This is question number 4 of homework 10 for chapter 9 and part of chapter 16. AT&T Incorporation, the large U.S. phone company and one-time monopoly, left the payphone business by the beginning of 2009 because people were switching to wireless phones. U.S. consumers owning cell phones switched 80% by 2007 and 86% by 2012, according to the Pew Research Center. Consequently, the number of payphones fell from 2.6 million at the peak in 1998 to 1 million in 2006. Use graphs to explain why a monopoly exits a market when its demand curve shifts to the left. So in this graph, we were given two demand curves, one at D1, another one is a inward shift, which means that the demand is going down and shift to D2. And hence, for the monopoly, we also have to get the marginal revenue curve. So for the original demand, we have this marginal revenue MR1, which may know that if the demand curve is a straight line, marginal revenue is also a straight line which starts from the same vertical intercept, but is steeper than this demand line. And the same for the smaller demand curve. So then we also have the marginal revenue, the second marginal revenue MR2. We were also given the marginal cost curve. In this case, it's a straight line, and specifically this is a horizontal line, which means that marginal cost doesn't depend on the output. And we were also further given by the AC, which is average cost curve. The reason we were given this curves is because later on we will be asked to draw the profit or loss area to indicate profit or loss area in this chart, and then the AC curve will be useful then. So we just follow this using the point drawing tool. Oh, by the way, this is a very, for me, this is a very interesting question because it helps you to understand in a much better sense why monopoly does not always make a profit, and two, how do we understand that monopoly can make a loss, and under what conditions the monopoly will exit a market. So number one, using the point drawing tool indicate the monopoly's profit maximizing price and the quantity before the shift in demand. Label this point E1. So we know that either for any firm, not only for the monopoly but also for competitive firms, for oligopoly, which we will study in later chapters, for any firm, what must be true? What must be true is the marginal revenue has to be equal to the marginal cost. So that's the equation that's the maximization equation for any firm. And so for this case, for the original demand curve, the original marginal revenue curve is MR1, and the marginal cost curve does not change. So their intersection is here. So we use the point drawing tool. But then this point only determines the output because for the price, it has to be on the demand curve. So the equilibrium point is right here. So this is our E1. And number two, using the rectangle drawing tool, shade in the monopoly's profit before the shift in demand. So how can we draw the profit curve? To understand how do we draw the profit curve? Let me write down the equation for profit. Okay, so profit pi equals revenue minus cost. So this may not be very obvious to understand graphically. How do we indicate the profit in a graph? So let me further write this to be if I divide this first by before I divide, we know that revenue equals price times quantity and then minus cost, the total cost. And here we can what I can do is divide this by Q. So I divide this by Q, but then to maintain this equation, after I divide this by Q, I have to multiply Q back. So then I can maintain this this value, the number. So now the terms within this parentheses becomes P times Q divided by Q. That's simply P, the price, and this is total cost divided by Q. That's my average cost, and then times Q. So the reason I write down the equation like this is because now you can see P minus average cost. Graphically speaking, this is basically the distance, because P, that's in the demand curve, and AC we are given. So P minus AC is simply the distance between the equilibrium point here, E1, and the point which has the same output, but which is on this AC curve. That's the point here. So the distance is a P minus AC. And then multiply by Q. Q is my horizontal axis. So the distance, the difference between the equilibrium point and the AC curve point, multiplied by Q, that's the rectangle here. So now I can choose using the rectangle drawing tool, shade in the monopoly's profit before the shift in demand. So I click on this rectangle tool, and for the rectangle tool, I just need to pinpoint the 2 points across to each other. So one point here, another point, as I said, is first this vertical length of this rectangle is the distance between the equilibrium point and the AC, and the horizontal length of this rectangle is the output, and their product becomes the area of this rectangle. So that's my profit before the demand shift, profit 1. So and that's the first part. And the second part is relatively easier if we can comfortably do the first part. So 3, using the point drawing tool indicate the monopoly's profit maximizing price and quantity after the shift in demand. So after the shift in demand shrinks, and so the marginal revenue also shrinks to MR2, but the marginal cost stays the same. So using the point drawing tool, the new MR2 is right here and MC is here, so their intersection is here, and then this is determines my output. For the price, it has to be on the demand curve. So this is my new equilibrium, E2. And again, by the seminal reasoning, we can also determine the profit or loss after the shrinkage of the demand. So then the vertical distance between this equilibrium point and the AC, and you can see that now the AC actually lies above this price. And that's why the monopoly is making a loss rather than making a profit. And so using the rectangle tool, the distance, one point is here, and another point is we can see that it should be the same point on the horizontal axis, on the AC curve, and extend that to the vertical axis. So that's this is the loss because the AC average cost is greater than the price. So that's my loss. So now I can check my answer. Nice work.